Hello, I would like to talk about the different types of crystal structures that we will explore here in this class. So far we've seen the simple cubic structure, which can also be represented like in this animation here that I'll show in a moment. It's just basically a stacked, we can think about these as the atoms or ions in a crystal stacked together, and this has a coordination number of 6, so it means every atom will contact 6 adjacent atoms or ions. We can then see in this animation right here, we can see that we can represent the structure here with a simple structure of just a box with 4 atoms or ions or balls at the edge, and each edge only has 1/8 of the ion inside of it. So we can then say it has the total number of equivalent ions in this unit is 1, as we'll see in a moment. A body-centered cubic cell, we can think about the spheres resting inside of the depressions between different sphere layers, so that therefore there's always one stuck in the middle there, and therefore the atoms are spaced a little bit further apart, but overall there's more packing efficiency. So we can think about this as about 68% packed, and therefore also the coordination number is going to be higher. So we can think about the center atom right here contacting the 8 corner atoms in that pattern, repeating itself over and over again. So the coordination number will be 8. And here's an animation of a body-centered cubic cell. Again, we have 1 atom in the center and then 8 at each in the corners for a total of, if we think about the corner atoms only contributing each as 1/8, the total number of equivalent atoms in this unit is going to be 2. And in a face-centered cubic, then we have an atom at each face between the corner atoms, and this is better shown here in the animation. And so we see we have our corner atoms right here in a face-centered cubic cell, but then we also have an atom on each, in the center of each face, and so half of this face-centered atom is inside of this unit cell and the other one is outside in the neighboring unit cell. And we can define the shared atoms or the shared ions as being shared by neighboring cells. So as we saw earlier, a corner atom can be thought of as being shared by 8 unit cells, so 1/8 is inside of that unit cell, and then we can think about each unit cell as the minimum needed to stack on different units to build the total. For an edge atom that's right along the edge, which we have not seen yet, but there's scenarios like that, and it'll be shared by 4 unit cells, and if it's on the face, it's shared by 2 unit cells. And so we can then think about these lattice points right here, or these edge points, as sort of slicing off the orange, or thinking of these as oranges that we slice or quarter, and we end up with the smallest possible unit that repeats itself. So if we think about here in the case of a simple cubic here, if we look at this sliced out model right here, we can think about stacking these all together in a repeating pattern, and then we end up with the picture that we see on the left. And so we therefore have 8 atoms at the corner, and each atom is only 1/8 inside of that unit cell, so therefore we've got 1 equivalent atom inside of this unit cell. Slight misspelling here. For a body-centered cubic cell, we have 2 equivalent atoms, because we have again the same atoms at the corners, and we've got 8 corners, and each atom is 1/8 of contributes 1/8 to the total, because only 1/8 of that orange is inside of the unit, and 1 atom in the center for a total of 2 equivalent atoms total. A face-centered cubic cell then contains 4 equivalent or complete atoms, so we've got the 8 at the corner and the 6 atoms on the faces, so 6 faces for a block, for a cube, and each atom is only half inside of that unit cell, so we end up with 3 equivalent atoms. The other half is in the neighboring unit cell for a total of 4 equivalent atoms total. We can also make a relation between the edge length and the radius of these unit cells. So for a simple cubic, the edge length A is just twice the radius of the atoms or the ions inside. And for a body-centered cubic, it's a little bit more complicated because there's a little bit of space between the edge atoms because of the center atom right here. So therefore, the edge length right here, edge length A, is given by 4 times the ion radius or the atomic radius over the square root of 3. And for a face-centered cubic, the edge length is given by 8 times, or the square root of 8 times the radius of the atom. And we can use this property right here. If we know the edge length of these cubes, we can calculate the volume. And if we know the mass of, say, one of these atoms, say through Avogadro's number, or the atomic mass, we can then calculate via Avogadro's number the density and volume of these units, or whichever parameter is missing. We'll do a sample problem like this in another video. Thanks for watching.